We are ready to go. This one time in real estate. It's season 2, episode number 32. I think we're going to talk a little bit about the disconnect.
We are.
The disconnect between what a buyer agent does and what a buyer perceives the buyer agent does, whether it's in time or energy. Shoot.
Yeah, so I heard an interesting statistic that on average, a buyer thinks an agent takes 15 hours to find them their home. 15 hours, when in reality, a buyer agent usually works between 80 and 100 hours to find a buyer their home. So obviously, as Mark alluded, that's a pretty big disconnect, 15 hours versus 80 to 100 hours. And I think it's probably a number of variables that are going into that, which is that we as buyer agents, I consider myself a buyer agent, we take it very seriously that we're removing a lot of that work from our buyers' plates and taking it on ourselves because that's how we're adding value. And I think sometimes that when we're doing that, we aren't articulating the work that we're putting into that search for them. And because they're not, which I'm visual, a lot of us are visual people, because they're not seeing that work taking place. They're only seeing us when we're physically showing them a home in person. And I think for many people now, communication doesn't happen on a phone call or face-to-face anymore. It happens as a text or an email. I think that they're potentially losing sight of the work that buyer agents puts in. And now more than ever, we know how important that is, that they understand the work that we're putting in.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
We got a little feedback, but hey, we're going to fix that. It sounds okay.
Yeah.
Here's the cool thing. We know what the responsibility of a great buyer agent. So let's talk about here. Look, there's different color of buyers, agents. Number one, we all know that. We're not here to say what a great one and not a great one, but let's highlight a great one, okay? So it's virtually impossible. Give me, how many hours do they believe that buyer agent?
15.
And are they suggesting, and again, I haven't seen the study, are they suggesting that start to finish?
Yep.
Incredible.
Correct.
And by the way, you're actually so my gut tells me when I hear that, and you just said, hey Mark, on average, start to finish, how long do you think, or how many hours do you believe a buyer agent puts in? So your 80 hours, just to be clear, I think actually I would perceive, and I know you said 80 to 100 and something, is actually light. Yeah. And the reason is that first of all, it's an average. And so I think you're doing it, not you, but the statistic is doing a complete disservice to the agent that shows more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 homes. I mean, just the act of showing 10 homes. On average, if you show 10 homes, I'm assuming that's an hour and a half a home, right? Between commute times and preparation, scheduling it. I'd say more. Sure. I mean, it could be an hour and a half. A great agent. So we are going to delineate because a great agent, if you're showing, imagine one of 10 homes you're going to get under contract. No problem. We know that I'm going to show 10 homes and one of them is going to go under contract. Now, I don't know which one.
Yep.
So number one, I've answered the phone. Either somehow we spoke to communicate to set an appointment.
Yep.
There's time there. Then we established a buyer consultation, whatever you want to call it, where I understand, I catch your vision. We're going to meet probably a couple hours, right?
Totally, yeah.
And then we're going to work on this huge list of homes and narrow it down, and there's 10. And by the way, some of those, I'm assuming they're all on the market. But what about the ones that I have to find for you that aren't on the market?
Yeah.
Do that, right? So we go through this whole journey and then just show the 10 homes. I'm getting prepared. So what do you do as a buyer agent? Just walk us through. And again, there's going to be a lot of great experienced agents on this that are going to be listening, but there's also going to be buyers that really don't know what we do.
Yeah.
I want to see, Sarah, I'm a buyer. I want to see 10 homes. I am buying one of these 10 homes. I'm bringing my family to this new market. I have to buy a home this weekend.
Yeah.
10. What do you do in advance?
Well, first of all, we need to get an app or check a temperature for the area and see kind of what are the sales in those different neighborhoods I'm going to be showing. If we're, let's just say hypothetically, showing homes in a few different areas. If they're all in the same area, that doesn't take as long because I'm looking at comps within maybe one neighborhood, a few neighborhoods, but same general area. But if they're in multiple areas, I'm going to have to educate myself and then educate them on what they can get in terms of each area. And if I think that the home is priced well for the neighborhood, or is it overpriced for the neighborhood, is it underpriced for the neighborhood, is there opportunities for them to improve and get anything back out of that? Like, I want to make sure I'm setting them up for success and giving them what they need. So in doing that, we would have a conversation about what's most important to them, but then I'm going to have to do my due diligence and homework to ensure that I know what I need to know on every home. So when was it last purchased? What does the seller's disclosure look like? So I'm going to have to review that. The tax records, I just want to look at that because I want to know what are taxes like. Is there anything that potentially I need to be aware of? Then I'm calling all of the listing agents of all of the homes and understanding, what do I need to tell my buyer? What's so special about your listing? Is there any inclusions or exclusions that I need to be aware of that I need to make sure that they're aware of? What's their timeline like with competitive situations? Then if they want all offers in by Sunday, let's say, but then there's a few homes that are waiting until Monday, that's going to weigh very heavily, because if there's one that they like that's in the Sunday, we're going to have to emphasize and obviously work faster for that home. If they find a home that they can wait till Monday, that could change things potentially. So there's so many variables. Then I'm going to probably preview around it, just because I want to make sure that I know everything about that home. If you could preview the homes that you're going to show so that you're an expert on those as well. Then you need to know neighborhoods. Is it in a cul-de-sac? Where's the schools? Like, you want to make sure you're educated on that. So I would say, and then obviously you're going to create a packet, schedule all the showings. There's a lot of hours that go into preparation to show 10 homes to a buyer and make sure that you present professionally.
So I think it's really important to note that however many hours is the face time, although there's a misperception. But you're talking about preparation. You spend more on preparation as a great agent than you do the actual showing, but it also makes the showing more efficient and effective when you've prepared. Totally. When you know where the nearest school is, the nearest church, the nearest grocery store, when you know when you're walking through the house where the basement door is. I remember unprepared, Mark Gelman, unprepared. I'm walking around. Where's the lower level? They ask me, and I'm like, open. Oh, no, that's a closet. And I'm trying to be sneaky. So anyway, sometimes it would be unprepared, but to be prepared, they're not taking that into account. By the way, I've made it easy to say there's 10 homes and we're going to show them and then we're going to buy one. But very rarely are there right now at today's market 10 homes. We may see things for 4 weekends. Now, we may not spend 8 hours, but we may spend 2 or 3. And you do that for 5 weekends. There's your 15 easy, 15, 20. By the way, that doesn't include the preparation. We then prepare. And then we have communication. And then we're talking about it. And those conversations that occur. And by the way, we haven't even got it under contract. We haven't even negotiated. We haven't even gone through inspections. We haven't done any of that. We're seeing some inspections taking 15 to 20 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that being said, right. What's your solution?
Well, I think that we need to, it's funny because I was just thinking, one of our agents says, you're not picking me to represent you as your buyer's agent because I'm going to tell you what home you should buy. I'm going to be the one telling you what homes you shouldn't buy. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's like a mindset shift, because if they're believing that our value is in the hours that they're seeing us, like, we're probably not doing the best job of articulating all the work that we're doing on their behalf. So I think that we need to probably get a little bit louder as agents and just make sure that they understand, hey, I'm working on this, and I'll let you know how it goes, or like just kind of being bolder with our clients to say, hey, I want to make sure I take this off your plate, and I'm doing these, or what we used to say, actually, like when we would go door knock, we take it for granted, like they're supposed to know we're door knocking on their behalf if I go out on a Thursday and door knock to find them an off-market opportunity. But did we tell them? Did we call them and say, hey, guess what? You're on my list today. I'm going to go door knock on your behalf in the neighborhood that you've identified that you'd love to live in. And I'm going to call you when I'm done and let you know how many doors I've knocked and what my results are. And then we'll go from there. And then they're like, oh, wow, like that was impressive. Like, well, if I don't tell them, how are they ever supposed to know that I'm doing that? Like, I want them to know that I'm doing it. I want them to know that I'm working hard on their behalf. Otherwise, they're not gonna understand.
That's a nugget. The other nugget. So imagine we have two busy doctors that we're working with. My common script I use is while you're busy seeing patients, while you're busy at the hospital, while you're wherever you're busy, I'm doing the heavy lifting in preparation for us finding that perfect home. But I want you, that's my value proposition. While you're doing your career, this is my career. But you are so spot on that if you don't tell them, they don't know, and then you don't get credit for it, and then you're bummed out. It's a vicious circle. However, it's also interesting that you have to be productive, though. So you have to communicate the productivity. You have to communicate just as you're into each home, you have to articulate that you did your homework. Now, you don't tell them I did my homework by you telling them this is what they paid. I spoke to the agent X, Y, and Z. So you just discuss it. But you have to. You are the expert. If you're not the expert, they don't need to pay you like the expert. If you want to be paid like a professional athlete, act like a professional athlete or a professional real estate professional.
Right.
Know the business and know what you're doing. So I think it's a great reference point, and I think it's really important for us to internalize, like, we're really devalued that much? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think we've devalued plus. I told you I wouldn't delineate the great from the not great, but here's the thing. There is a huge delineation, and those that aren't great, they don't come prepared. They don't have the preparation time, so maybe the 15 hours is a lot closer because they're rushing through showings. Yeah. They're sloppy on negotiations. They're sloppy on the whole process. Mm-hmm. We take it for granted that this is just how we do business. Yeah. We do business as if it's our own house.
Right.
We treat our clients' money like it's our money. We treat our clients like they're our family. Right. And when we do all that, we go above and beyond. Mm-hmm. We think it's a standard, but to the market, it's not. That's why real estate professionals are very close to your other profession. I can't remember. What was that?
Well, so to be fair, I was a car salesperson, not a used car salesperson, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I mean, it's very good.
There's a difference?
Yeah.
In perception or what?
I would say in perception.
Really?
You don't think
it's interesting. I mean, I have a visual of like the difference.
Yeah.
But did you ever sell used cars or no?
Of course I did, yes.
Okay.
I mean,
but you sold used cars at a new car dealer.
Bingo.
That's different than selling used cars from a used car lot.
That is true. It's very
really
different. Yeah.
Maybe we'll save that for another one.
Yeah, we'll have somebody come on and we can interview them about it maybe.
Really?
But I was going to say, so it's interesting because we talk a lot about unmet expectations. And when you meet someone, regardless of if they know you or not, they already have expectations about you or me. That's just how it goes. And I think a lot of the time, what I've learned over the last few years is that it's my job to uncover what those expectations are. Because if I don't, they have them. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they are. We're going to have an issue.
Another nugget.
So this is interesting because I was thinking about, because this is actually Leo Pareja. Leo Pareja's CEO of EXP, right?
Yep.
CEO. And brilliant guy. And so he was making the point that a lot of buyers go into a situation where they're trying to find a buyer agent. They have the expectation that you are going to find them their home, like physically find it. And I do not hang my hat as a buyer agent on being the one to actually pick out their home. Like, their grandma might do that. Their dad might do that. Their best friend might do it. They might do it. Like, these days, you can find a home as a buyer, as a consumer, pretty easily on your own. My job is all of the things that come after that. Like, all of the work. Like, from finding it, okay, great, good job, you found it. But then now I have to go to work to actually win it or negotiate it on your behalf and get the terms that you want. And then we have to go into all these other rounds of negotiations of contingencies that I would never want anyone that I love to do on their own and expect that they're going to be able to get through it. So, like, if we're not setting that expectation with them to say, you may be the one that finds your home, or your best friend might, or I don't even know, your dog might find it. But that's not what actually my job is. Here's what my job is. And then telling them all those things, then they are going to assume that I'm working 15 hours and eating bonbons, and why am I making the money that I'm going to make?
So when I listen to you, the 15 hours, 10 hours, 12, door opener. Mm-hmm. I would say that'd be in the category on the spectrum. And by the way, everybody there's a spectrum for everything.
Yeah.
Scale 1 to 10. 1 is like the worst agent, the worst professional, and 10 is just like unicorn. It's just so amazing. Well, the 1 could be the 5-10 hours, which is simply a door opener. You find, the client finds a property, you open the door, they tell you how much to write the contract for, what the terms are. They don't take your input, or you don't provide. Yeah, there is a value to that, but it's a limited value.
Right.
The 10, where you're now bringing properties to them, you're changing their search criteria because what they're looking for may not be available. Right. Mm-hmm. You're expanding their thought process. You're going above and beyond, just even in that part. And then you get into negotiations. I believe in order to win this, we should do X, Y, and Z. You're their trusted advisor. Totally different, totally different compensation models, totally different expectations. So actually reeling this back, I don't think it's an unfair expectation that some buyers do believe their agent only works 15, because it depends on who they interviewed. They maybe took the pool of the worst agents, and then those were their clients. So we don't know where the study came from,
right.
But I will tell you the best of the best. Hours and hours and hours. So also, as I think about this, there's probably not going to be a death of the best or a death of the worst. I think there'll be buyers that will work with the worst because of a value they perceive, even though they're way off.
Yeah.
And then I think there's going to be buyers that really appreciate the best of the best that will pay them a premium. Mm-hmm. If you're going to have your taxes done, do you want a 1 accountant or do you want a 10?
10.
Awesome. You get in trouble. I know, Sarah, you never get in trouble. Do you want a 1 lawyer or a 10?
10.
Really? Okay.
I mean, maybe an 8. I don't actually know how much they cost.
You're not feeling healthy. Do you want a 1 doctor or a 10?
10 for sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Financial planner. Do you want a 1 or a 10?
10.
Perfect. But again, you're going on the perceived benefit of all that.
Oh, yeah.
You're not looking at the expense. Getting healthy is the benefit of hiring the right person, so you're willing to pay for whatever it is. Having a secured retirement is your benefit. The cost is the fee that they're going to charge you, the percentage. So you have to understand, listener, are you looking for the benefit or are you looking for the cost?
Upside downside. Like, that was an episode. That was a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like
upside downside.
Upside downside.
I'd way rather have a guaranteed retirement than invest with someone that's saving me a few bucks that I don't have any money at the end,
So I like to say the expense of hiring the wrong person is far greater than the cost of hiring a great person. That's it.
So true.
Anything else?
That's a wrap.